What's going on, Degen Nation? Kenny Kim here, bringing you another Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast this week for the Wells Fargo Championship. As usual, I am here with everybody's favorite South African, Byron Lindeque. Byron, what is up, my friend?
Kenny, it's been a fun time on this show, man. We've been having a blast. We've been making some money. We've been having laughs. It's just, this is what gambling's all about, isn't it?
It is. It's been great. And of course, our show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you go check out Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Mayo to get yourself a deposit match anywhere from $100 to maybe $250. We'll see. They're doing some cool stuff over at Underdog this week, so make sure you check it out. Also, their best ball is starting for football. I know that it's a $1.5 million first prize, but finishing in the top 40 gets you $50,000 or something like that. Pretty solid, really flat payout. What's up, Byron?
Top 10 is $6K. You're getting six figures.
10 is 6 figures. Top 40, I think, is $50K or $40K or something like that. So make sure you go to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code Mayo. Yeah, what a week last week. That course is sort of garbage, right? But I still thoroughly enjoyed watching it. It could have been just because I had so many guys in play, right? From a gambling perspective, it was a good week for me, and it kept me engaged the entire time. That could have been something that happened, but great win by Taylor Pendrith. Of course, I hit Pendrith. He was one of my picks last week for on the betting card. I think I got him at 75-1 with 8 places each way. He looked solid. The thing is, going down into it, he wasn't playing horribly on Sunday, but Ben Coles 5, right? He was just doing his thing. Hitting close shots, birding 16, birding 17, taking that one-stroke lead into the final hole. And then we see probably one of the biggest choke jobs we've seen in recent history on the PGA Tour.
Minus 340 entering that hole.
Entering that hole. I can't remember the last time something like this happened. I know somebody blowing it on the 18th hole to go to a playoff. Okay, I can understand that. But a guy blowing it with a one-stroke lead on 18 and then losing before the playoff. The only thing I could think of was Jean Van der Velde, but that's going back, 10, 15, 20 years. I'm sure there's been some other cases in between. I know for a fact there's been some other cases, but I can't remember anything as bad as what Ben Coles went through yesterday. That first chip was not as difficult as he made it to be. He definitely chucked it and choked it, and it landed in the worst spot possible. I think if it went in the bunker, he probably could have gotten it up and down a lot easier. He did hit a pretty good shot from the way his stance was and how he had to connect on that chip. It was a decent shot to get it within 5 feet. Really, it was a decent shot to get it within 5 feet, and then he didn't even hit the hole on the par putt. And then, of course, Pendrith made the 3-footer to win. But, I think the most important part of Pendrith's round was 16 and 17. He had 2 6-foot par putts on both holes. And 6 foot's not a gimme, especially for Taylor Pendrith. And then, he ends up making both of those to keep him in shouting distance of Ben Coles after he birdies 17. It could have been a 2-stroke swing right there on 17, and it's over. You know what I'm saying? It's already over. It was that close to being over already on the 17th. And then, of course, Ben does his thing, fucks around, finds out, and loses. It's a shame for him. I think if you could find any matchups against Ben Coles this week at Wells Fargo, it might be a good time to go against him. I don't really care if the number's like minus 140, minus 160, whoever's going up against him. Coming back from something like that is, I know he was Corn Ferry Tour Player of the Year last year, if I'm not mistaken. So the guy's got skill. So maybe he can get past it. But man, that shit's got to hurt. What'd you think of the event?
It kind of reminds me, I can't think of a winner that's done that, maybe outside of Benny On at the Sony, where Grayson Murray hit that 30-foot bomb in the playoff, and then Benny missed like a 4-foot brick to not even extend the playoff. I would imagine that's a very similar scenario, but not quite as significant as not missing it. Maybe Justin Thomas playing so badly to end Augusta's Friday round that he ended up missing the cut, but letting a whole bunch of other guys in at the same time while missing it. That kind of reminds me of that. But I was out and about the whole time, Kenny. I didn't watch too much of the golf, but I had a great selection on Jake Knapp. I did the ladder with him, and for him not to cash the top 5 of that ladder is disgusting. It's gross. He was in the final group well ahead of everybody else and then just doesn't even come close to top 5. I've been betting the outrights with a 3-way placement each way, getting like ridiculous odds on the outright numbers. And I've had Garrett Kigo and I've had Benny on finish 4th in my last 2 stats. So that serves me right?
Hey, that's why you got to go 8 places, man, like I do. That's why you got to go 8 places.
Well, Kenny, the thing is, I'm getting these outright odds at like almost 2/3 additional value. Like they are ramping it up. Like Wyndham Clark was like 28-1 with 3-way places if you buy the 3 ways. You know, that's what I'm
8-1
at Bet365. I know this is like earlier today before Ludwig withdrew. Bet365 is doing this each way extra where you go all the way to the right-hand side there. They're going to give you 3 places. And I've been diving into those things because I think I've just been loving them. You know, like the outright numbers are ridiculous. And then, you know, if your guy's really in the hunt, you're likely going to still cash that top 3, right? Like that heartbreak of not winning the tournament is going to be there for you. So good week for me. We had, who was it? Bo Haster shot 73 around TPC Craig Ranch to kind of blow my Babbelas bets. All 3 of my other guys finished inside the top 40, but we'll have some more boys. So obviously, bitch-ass Bo doing his thing and
bitch-ass Bo, that's what we're going to call him from now on. Bitch-ass Bo.
So
bitch-ass Bo, fucking shit up. Fucking shit up.
Tough scenes, but off we go, you know? Still a good week.
Yeah, it was a good week. The underdog play that I put out on the show hit. It was quite a sweat. The 2 guys hit easy, and then Hoagie had to make a 6-foot birdie or an 8-foot birdie on 18 for that underdog fantasy pick'em to hit. It hit. He made the birdie on 18 huge. And then I think I had Hoagie again on Sunday. I released another one on my Twitter feed Saturday night that you could have tailed. It was a 8.5 multiplier. It was one of them was Hoagie, like less than 1.5 bogeys. One was like somebody else less than 1.5 bogeys. But the Hoagie one was sweaty because he bogeyed the first hole. Hoagie bogeyed the first hole on Sunday, so he had to go bogey free on 17 holes for it to hit, and he went bogey free on 17. And also, Benny On was my final part of that pick'em to finish in the top 5, and that's why it was such a high multiplier, because I think for him to finish in the top 5 was like with a 3-time multiplier, the little chili peppers they got over at Underdog Fantasy. And of course, he had the birdie. He had a 6-foot birdie putt on 18. He had to make that to finish in the top 5, and he made it. So it was a really sweaty weekend. But I mean, that plus the Penrith each way, plus the Knapp each way. I also had Mitchell, who was 11th going in to the final round, and I had Novak, who finished, I think, 11th or 15th there. So pretty, really, really solid. It's been a really good, like 3+ months. I mean, if you guys have been following me for the last 3.5 months, Taylor, you probably won some fucking money. Cash and Cornerstones, of course, all made the cut. Knapp was the highest. He was 5th. I think Mitchell finished, 15th. So a couple guys in the top 20. It was a tight one there. But it still ended up cashing, and I still had, I made like 20% return on investment. But hey, you know what?
How much Sunday did you have?
How much what?
Sunday did you have?
None. He was my fade of the week.
I know. Oh, yes, I remember that now from Twitter. Yeah, he was in 60% of my lineup, so I had this week.
Yeah.
So
in the last 7 individual stroke play events, I've hit 10 each ways and 3 winners. 2 were outright before the event. 1 was Scotty, 28-1 at the Players during the 3rd round live. So it's been, I've hit 4, I think, for the year. It's been very, very strong. We're going to try and keep it going. And this week is going to be fun because I don't know. I've made a card, but I'm not sure if I made the right call. We'll talk about this a little bit coming up as we get further on into the show. Anything else? Oh, let's talk about some stuff that's happened this week. I mean, we have, of course, Phil saying that live players are going to boycott fucking May. That's some bullshit. That's just never going to happen. I'm not even going to pay attention to that. But the big thing is, I guess Taylor Gooch ended up getting getting an exemption to the PGA Championship next week. All the shit that he's been talking, it's time for him to put up or shut up, right? I'm really looking forward to watching this next week. I want him to be on a featured group because, I mean, either you hate watch this or you got to respect the guy for what he's been saying, which not many people do. But
did you just say respect Taylor Gooch?
I'm not the one there. He's a fucking moron, in my opinion. But I want to see it. It's sort of like hate watching, right? Like, but the thing is, like, if he comes through solid, I'm going to give him the respect that he deserves. You know what I'm saying? If he finishes top 5 and gets into all the other majors for the rest of the year, I mean, well, can you really argue against what he's saying then? That's the thing. I mean, it's going to be so much more pressure on him. I didn't watch much live this week. I'm guessing you didn't watch. What do you think about Taylor? His comments, and what do you expect from him next week?
It's the same parallels as Joaquin Niemann. Bitching about his world ranking, all that jazz, gets invited to the Augusta, or maybe doesn't get invited, but got to go play there again. And no, he got invited because he said that bullshit after getting invited, which was like, it rubbed people the wrong way because he was bitching about his OWGR. And then guess what? He's only top 20 in a major in the last 8 years, was last year at Augusta. Didn't even finish out the top 20 again, like 22nd. Like, if you're one of the top 5 guys in the world, bro beans, you gotta put up, nut up, let's go. Like, I'm sick and tired of these guys bitching and moaning from across that millionaire multitude of mayhem over there, and they just thinking they own this world. And then they show up to these big boy events with these PGA Tour guys who've been balling out against some good competition, and they don't know what they're doing. So,
well, also Koepka won. Koepka won Singapore last week. I mean, I think the last time he won the week before a major, or the event before a major, was last PGA Championship. So I think he won the event.
Yeah, I think he won the week before the Masters, finished second at the Masters, and then everyone was in on him at the PGA.
Yeah, it was something like that. And I put the bet on him. You could still get him. I don't know if you can get him now, but when he won yesterday on Sunday, you could still get him 20-1. For the PGA Championship. I threw $100 on him right away. Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't. So I mean, that's something that we're gonna have to take a peek at when it comes to next week, of course. But let's move on from the golf. I had a pretty weird weekend. So I was at home Friday night, and my neighbors, they have parties all the time. They're college kids, so. Yeah, this whole area that I live in, it's a bunch of families, right? Really, really safe neighborhood. I live across the street from the police station. It's like a 30-second drive, maybe like a 4-minute walk to the police station across the street from my house. Very, very safe neighborhood. Normally, I've lived here 7 years, never an issue. But the thing is, the only rented house in this area everyone owns except my neighbor. My neighbor is a rental for college kids. So every year the college kids come in, and there's a new batch of college kids every year for all the 7 years that I've owned this house. And so this year, the new crew comes in, nice guys. I talked to them, very friendly. College kids are doing their thing. I got no problem with it. But every Friday night they throw parties, right? And so, I'm not scream at, old man on the lawn yet, right? And the music's loud. But I was in college once too. I'm not going to fucking rat these dudes out playing loud music. I was like a Monday or a Wednesday. I'm probably calling the cops, right? I need to fucking sleep, right? But on a Friday, the college kids, let them do their thing. Let them have their fun. Yeah. So, they're throwing a party Friday night, and I hear it. It's going pretty wild. And then all of a sudden, around 12:30, I hear 6, pop, 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 about 6 gunshots go flying out. And then I hear like pandemonium next door. Like, people are screaming, people are yelling. They're all, I guess the shooting was in the front of my house. So they're all running to the back of my house. They get to the deck. There's no stairs on the deck. They jump off the deck. They jump onto my deck, thinking there might be stairs. There's no stairs. They jump off my deck. They run through my back gate, break my back gate. Here's the thing. Like, if you're running from someone shooting from you, you're going to break shit.
Yeah.
I'm not angry about that. I mean, these guys were literally running for their lives. So if they have to break shit on the way, as long as it's safe, break shit. I don't give a fuck, right? So they ended up breaking my back gate, trying to escape. Now, I talked to my neighbor the next day before the cops showed up in like a minute and a half, like super quick. The guy bolted. They still can't find him. He's still on the run. As of, I guess, yesterday when I talked to the detective. So, we don't talk to the detective that night, but we talked to him the next morning. And it was a hot ass smoking hot detective, redhead, Detective Benedict of the Fairfax County Police Department. If you guys know her, smoking. So I was trying not to like stare at her tits the whole fucking time as she was talking to me. And, so, she's telling me like, and so basically like these guys next door, it's a business that they're running. They have these parties every Friday night and they charge for it. They have like security wands. Like they went in, like the police went, they saw like security wands. Yeah. So they wand everybody before they come into the house. Like it's like legit sort of like mini business. And I can't hate on, when I was in college, I threw parties like that. We made money. That was our goal for throwing parties. You pay $5 for $3 for a cup. You know what I'm saying? You get a cup, right? And we have however many kegs, beer pong, whatever, right? They do dancing, a lot of dancing. That's why you can hear. They clear out their living room. There's no furniture in the living room. So it's basically just a dance room.
A mini club almost, yeah.
Yeah, basically a mini club. They got the lights and shit going on and whatever. Yeah, it's cool. So they've been doing this all year, no problem, right? Like literally since we only came to school in August last year. No issues, no problems. But I guess somebody brought a gun and they wanded them. And they saw the gun. They're like, what is this? And the guy pulls it out. And he's like, yeah, you can't come in there with that. And they got into a little altercation. Now, the guy, probably a fucking pussy, right? He doesn't use the gun like right there. He starts walking back and running away because the guy's like, yelling at him and shit like that to get the fuck off their property. And on his way out, he just lets loose like 6 rounds. Like, it didn't, okay, 3 rounds hit my house. 1 went through my bedroom window, lodged into the wall next to my bed. Scary. Yeah, definitely scary.
Jesus.
2 more lodged into my siding. 2 hit my neighbor's van, and another car was hit. So those are the 6 shots, right? None of them fucking hit the house that he was shooting people at. None, right? So the guy, the guy runs off. They still can't find him. Police have been over to my house a couple of times. Pretty crazy shit. I called the insurance. They'll cover the damage. But, it's one of those things where, like, you live in a safe area, but, like, there was no way that this shit could have probably been avoided. You know what I'm saying? Just because they have the parties there, but they're trying to do their thing to keep people safe. But when they didn't let someone in is when the shooting happens. I don't know who to blame. Like, you got to blame the shooter. I can't really blame my neighbors, right? I mean, like, they've been doing this for so long, and they did it in a way where they're trying to keep people safe. It just didn't happen. Like, when you're 20, 21 years old, you make a few dollars, you're trying to do. You're not expecting shit like this to fucking happen. So definitely a weird weekend for me. Luckily no one was hurt. We're all good. But yeah, I mean, it did let me, meet Detective Benedict. So fucking smoking redhead. Like, something about redheads. I can't get enough of them.
Well, Kenny, did you go from her boobs to her left finger, or did you get stuck at the boobs?
What do you mean? What's the left finger?
What's going on there? Is Detective Benedict
I didn't get a look.
huntable?
I didn't get the look. I'm so fat and out of shape. I ain't hitting on no fucking women right now. The only way I'm getting fucking laid right now is if I pay for it, which, of course, whatever, that works. It's easier that way.
That's what you say. I'm a co-host on Fantasy Golf Degenerates, and I'm on a weight loss challenge right now. So I am going to be looking goddamn good, girl.
If I tell women that I host a podcast, yeah, that's not a thing I normally do. I'll tell you that right now. I am not boasting that I host a podcast.
I'm joking I'm joking about it.
I'm trying to hit up a girl. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
The meme where the guy's like grabbing the chick's head and like.
Yeah, what I do tell them is I'm vice president and director of operations of the company I work for. That's something that I would tell them.
Yes.
But I will not say that I am a podcast host. That is not something I will say in the first few days. And so I can tell you that right now. But yeah, it's you smoking. I'm not gonna fucking hit on anyone. I'm fucking 5'10", 260 fucking pounds right now. I know fucking woman's gonna want to fuck me right now unless I pay for it. So, which is cool. I'm glad there's women like that. But that makes it so I just don't even bother hitting on girls anymore. I need to lose this fucking weight, and we'll be back on my game. You hear what I'm saying?
The thing is, though, you've got to like buffer yourself, like work on the verbal game while you still.
I already have
because
that.
then if you can,
that shit's already
Well, then what's the problem?
ingrained.
Yeah,
because I'm fat and ugly. Like the thing is, like when you talk to a girl, right? You have to have confidence in yourself, right?
Yes.
That's like the number one thing, and girls can pick up on that, right? You have to be super confident in yourself, in your own, clothes, right? Right? Women
in
can
and
pick
out
up on that.
Yeah,
women can pick up on that. You can tell if you're bullshitting or not with ease when you're doing this, right? Whether it's natural or you're just coming off and bullshitting. I would have been bullshitting at that point in time.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, we're on this weight loss challenge. I know you've done well. You've lost 4 pounds already? So I lost like 4.2 pounds or 4.7 pounds from Monday through Friday. I weighed myself on Friday and I gained 2+ pounds back on the weekend because the weekend.
You had a weekend, buddy. You had a weekend.
Yeah. Plus, winning like, $4,800 this week was nice too. So, I splurged on some of that and had some steaks and shit like that. But now this week, of course, I have the pod today. I have a pod tomorrow. I'm doing the custody panel on the Mayo Media Network tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to be released, but we're recording tomorrow. And then I have the E9 for Gup's Corner for a signature event on Wednesday. So I can't play until Thursday. Thursday, of course, is it's supposed to rain. It's supposed to rain all fucking day. So I've been doing the mall walking. So I'll mall walk every day this week. Yeah, so I'm doing something. We're trying to lose the weight. We're trying to get the old Kenny confidence back and do his thing and spit game on women like it was nobody's business. But right now, that shit ain't happening.
All right. One day, baby. At the President's Cup, you're going to be...
It's going to be soon. It's going to be
You're going to be...
It's going to be soon.
Mr. Korea out there, baby. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So let's move on to anything else you want to talk about before we move on?
I feel like we've touched a lot. So, except for Mrs. Benedict, but we'll miss Benedict, but we'll get there.
I do want to touch her. That's true. All right. So, Underdog Fantasy. Our Underdog Fantasy segment. Make sure you go to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Mayo. Get yourself a deposit deposit bonus anywhere from like $100 to $250. We'll see. I know they're doing some new shit. I don't know exactly where it's going, but it's going to be somewhere in that range. $100 to $250. Okay. So last week, of course, I hit mine again. I think that's 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 5, something like that. Since we started doing this, I know we did it back with Tambo for a couple of times when he was on the last couple episodes of the show. I know we're done with the first 3 episodes here, or 2 of the first 3 here, and both of those have hit. So I'm doing mine for this week. Now, a little bit of worry. I did check the web this time. And Thursday looks like the morning's going to be fine. And then thunderstorms roll in. And right before the thunderstorms roll in and after the thunderstorms end, it's supposed to be like 20 to 35 mile per hour gusts. I don't really know how to correlate that at this moment in time because it's Monday, right?
It's Monday.
Because you're thinking about it, because it's supposed to rain Wednesday night. So you're thinking maybe lift clean in place, probably lift clean in place if they're expecting all that rain on Thursday afternoon, right? So that's going to make the course play easier. And then, of course, softer conditions will make the course play easier. The key is when the wind comes, right? And when the rain comes. If the rain comes before the wind and they cancel because of the showers, it's supposed to have hail. It's supposed to be like torrential downpour in the afternoon. So more than likely, if the weather report stays the same, they're not going to be able to play in the afternoon. So and Friday's morning looks great. So the way I was thinking about it is, if my guys are in the morning, they should be okay, right? Because the wind really isn't supposed to pick up until the storms come, right? And if my guys are in the afternoon, I'm hoping the storms come early, right? And they just nix the day and then go out and play on Saturday. All possibility, right? But you got to go based on what you know right now. And if I didn't do an underdog segment on Monday, I'd probably wait till Wednesday. Okay.
That's exactly what I wanted to say the whole time, man. Like, you got to watch this, know that.
Yeah. But, it's Monday at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. We're going to be, we do the segment every week. It's been going extremely well.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep at it. So my underdog segment, my underdog fantasy pick'em for this week pays 4.77 times. 3-bagger. Wyndham Clark, lower than 70 strokes. The man's a baller. It's a signature events. If you look at the signature events, I think he's finished top 10 in every single one this year, except the Century. I think top 3 in a lot of them. The guy has become a poor man's Brooks Koepka, right? But when it comes to these big time events, the guy just shows up. And so I like Wyndham Clark. I think he could shoot 2 under. Even in shitty fucking weather, I hope he could shoot 2 under on his round and do his thing. Max Homa, under 70.5 strokes. So Max only needs to be 1 under par. You always play Homa on Homa courses, right? I don't worry about the RBC because it was played right after the Masters. The Masters, he showed something, right? He showed something. Long courses, he showed something. I think I want him to use that to come back on a course he's very familiar with, that he's won in the past, finished 8th last year. All he needs to do in round 1 is shoot 1 under par. My last one was going to be Ludwig Åberg. It was over 3.5 birdies. I put it in. He withdrew about 6 minutes after I put it in. So
you broke his knee, Kenny.
Yeah. So no Åberg. So I'm doing Cam Young, lower than 71 strokes, lower than even par. So he has to shoot 1 under par. Cam, 9 of his 10 events this year shot even or better in the first round.
Yes.
9 of his 10 events, or 9 of his 11 events this year. I think 9 out of 10. He's only missed 1, I think, where he did not shoot even or better in the first round. And only once did he shoot even. And I think that was the Amex. It was a par 71. So he's been very strong in the first round. Where he somewhat fades, of course, is the weekend and Sundays. So I have faith in him on Thursday. So those are my 3. Wyndham Clark, lower than 70 strokes. Max Homa, lower than 70.5 strokes. Cameron Young, lower than 71 strokes for round 1. I'm hoping it plays easier. I'm hoping it plays soft. I'm hoping the wind doesn't come until the day is canceled, basically because of the thunderstorms. That's how I'm going about it. Check my Twitter feed for more of these bets throughout the round, throughout the event. I think I did 2 last week, and both of them hit. So make sure you follow me on Twitter at KendoVT. What is your underdog pick'em of the week, my friend?
Yeah. If you are not following Kenny during the middle of the tournament while he's releasing these flaming underdog tickets, you don't like money. So just putting that out there, go and follow the guy. Let him
I went 3 for 4 last week on 3-baggers. 3 for 4.
Exactly.
Actually, I went 3 for 3 on 3-baggers. The one I lost was a 2-fer.
Exactly. I mean, that's what you get for settling, Kenny. You got to shoot from the hip, baby.
I know.
So let's see what we can do. I'm going to follow you along with Cameron Young. I've been mashing this guy's birdie props in round 1. That's it. Like, he loves, if this was like an abbreviated version of Live, Cam Young would be a ridiculously good golfer because he'd win round 1 every single time. So 3.5 higher birdies. Cam Young. He loves round 1, like you mentioned. Rory McIlroy around Quail Hollow. You're telling me in 18 holes of golf he can't find 4 birdies? Give it to me. 3.5 or higher for Rory.
I thought about that. I will let you know. The worry I have about Rory, he's such a slow starter, man. Like every event, he's such a slow starter. Like if it was second or third round, I'm going the over prop, no doubt, because I think he's going to win the event. I think he's going to win. So that's why I thought about it. I just couldn't pull that trigger on Rory because his first round prowess is so shitty.
But I'll take the birdies though, Kenny. Like he can shoot 71 and still make 4 birdies kind of thing. He's probably going to make some dumbass double.
Especially
or if
he's in the morning and it's nice and soft and calm. Yeah.
Yeah. So he loves this golf course. He'll be making birdies. I feel like I've been mentioning, I missed the nines. We were going to chat about, some Rory at 9-1. I missed that this morning, and now he's unbettable. I would say, he's like 6.5-1 of this Ludwig withdraw. So got to find exposure to him one way or another. I love him at this golf course. And then Xander. This guy is one of the most elite long iron players in the field, in the world, in fact. And this golf course requires all of that. He makes over 4 birdies per round at this golf course as well. 3.5 birdies or higher for Xander Schauffele. So pretty much, yep.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I want to make a point after you're done. Go ahead and recap.
3.5 birdies or higher for all 3 of these guys. Cameron Young, Rory McIlroy, or Xander Schauffele for 4.67x return over at Underdog. Use code Mayo. Get yourself.
I think the safest way, what both of us did, I think one of the safest ways to go about the round one for Underdog is just using the elite of the elite, right? These guys are the most consistent golfers out there, and that's why they are the best golfers out there. And I think if you're going to do a round one pick'em, you need to focus on guys that are elite, that are major worthy, at least in events like this. You're not going to be able to find that in these non-designated field events, signature events. But, even those events, there's still you could find 3 guys who are levels above the rest of the field. And those are the ones that I like targeting, when it comes down to it in these round one pick'ems. So there we go. We did our Underdog 7. Hopefully we go, 3 in a row. We'll see how that plays out. Before we move on, let's pay some bills. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I personally like the pick'em games. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. Can also make rivals picks, which pits 2 players against each other. Now, the reason I like the pick'em games is because of these things called scorchers. There's these little chili peppers next to the golfers' names, and if you click on that, it adds to your multiplier, so you can win even more money. Sign up today with promo code Mayo and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Must be 18 or over and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, so let's go over this week. We got the Wells Fargo Championship, right? It's coming from Charlotte, North Carolina. Quail Hollow Golf Club. The course was revamped a bit 7 years ago for the PGA Championship, or because James Hahn won it the year before. whichever one you want to think of. The course has played tougher since the redesign. Outside of last year, the winning scores since 2015, since 2017, there's only been 3. But we say the last 6 times they've played there, no matter what. The last 6 times they've played there, it hasn't topped the low teens under par, except for last year. Last year, Wyndham, of course, went 19 under. Xander went 15 under, but nobody else was in the teens under par. I think Harry English was 12, and he came in 3rd. So the first 5 holes, they were dramatically changed during the redesign. And also the biggest change is probably going from par 72 to a par 71. Now, outside of that, in the first 5 holes, the course is going to look pretty similar for golfers who played it for years before. Now, even the president of Quail Hollow promised players that the course won't be anywhere near as difficult as we saw at the PGA Championship when Justin Thomas won. And he's been right. I mean, you've seen double-digit under pars every year. It's not easy, but it's not super elite difficult. It's not major difficult, but it's not easy. It's that nice in between that where we want to see it a week in and week out. That's sort of our goal, to see something like this when it comes down to courses and the way courses are set up. Now, the course is best known for, of course, for the Green Mile, the closing stretch. One of the toughest closing stretches on tour. No lead is safe going into 16, 17, and 18. 16th hole, 508-yard par 4. 17th, 221-yard par 3. 18th, 493-yard par 4. Law holes. Makes sense that they call it the green mile. If you play even par on those three, you might hold a trophy at the end of the week. On the other side of the spectrum, if your golfers are at or near the cut line coming into these 3 holes on Friday, pray. You got to pray. Now, you really notice the length of the course when you see the yardages of where most approach shots are hit from. Since 2005, over 55% of all approaches have come from 175 yards or more. And that percentage is actually higher the last 5 years due to the old par 5 fifth hole being dropped to a long par 4. You got to at least try and reach for it. Right now, you can't lay up. Now, one last tidbit before we get to the meat of the course. The Wells Fargo Championship was not played here in 2022. It wasn't played here in 2020. And it wasn't played here in 2017. So you can eliminate that. You can eliminate those years unless you want to count the PGA Championship year of 2017. All right, so let's get to the meat of the course. Quail Hollow Golf Club, 7,600-yard par 71, 4 par 3s, 3 par 5s. The par 5s are reachable by a majority of golfers in the field as long as the fairways have a bit of roll and the course isn't soaked. We'll see. It could be soaked. Golfers need to take advantage of the par 5s as they are some of the easiest holes on the course. Looking at some previous winners here, the majority of them have dominated the par 5s. Years ago, when James Hahn won, he was -9 for the par 5s. When Rory won a decade ago, he was -13. I know when he won about 5-6 years ago, about 3 years ago, he was around that same number as well. J.B. Holmes won in 2014. He was -10 on the par 5s. The course played as a par 71 with 3 par 5s for the PGA Championship. Justin Thomas still shot -7 on those hard-ass par 5s. 5 years ago was the first year Quail Hollow only had 3 par 5s for the Wells Fargo, and Jason Day shot -9. Rory won a -10 in 2021 on the par 5s, and Wyndham Clark last year -10 on the par 5s on his way to win. Par 5 scoring, super important this week. You got to get to like 7, 8, 9, 10. Minimum half your score has to come from these par 5s. Minimum. You could get like, if it plays hard enough, you could get like 70% of your scoring basically based in these par 4s. That's how important these par 5s are. Now, the par 3 is lengthy. Most of the 3 of them are 200 to 250 yard range. Even par, great score in the par 3s for the week. The par 4s, for the most part, very long. 7 of the par 4s range from 449 to over 500 yards. 2 of them are 500 to 525 yards. And 2 of them are very short, possibly drivable, the 8th and the 14th. Now, typically the rough and fairways are overseeded with ryegrass and blended with Bermuda grass. The greens are normally Bermuda, overseeded with Poa trivialis. Now, after the conclusion of the Wells Fargo Championship, the greenskeepers lay an herbicide that kills the rye and the Poa trivialis on the course, and it goes for Bermuda until the fall. So I think technically right now, still overseed. Now, off the tee, golfers are going to see narrow to average with tree-lined fairways that are some of the hardest to hit on tour, with an occasional fairway bunker and water only on few holes. Less than 50% of fairways have been hit by golfers since this tournament began here in the early 2000s. But since the trees aren't that bunched up and there aren't too many bunkers or water off the tee, missing fairways won't mean an automatic bogey. But the rough is 2 inches tall and gnarly. Again, 2.5 inches. It's not crazy, right? Now, when golfers miss the fairway, hitting it long can be helpful since it's much easier to hit a shorter iron to the green out of the thick rough. While the rough is normally topped at around 2 inches, one thing I've noticed in some elevated events last year was that they rose the rough. This year, what I've noticed in elevated events is they have shrunk the rough. So it's possible that this course plays easier. Now, accuracy off the tee will be useful, but J.B. Holmes won in 2014, only hitting 26 out of 56 fairways. Jason Day won in 2018, hitting less than half of his fairways also. So it's obviously not the end-all, be-all. I wouldn't avoid shorter hitters altogether if they have good green and regulation stats, especially with long irons, and can putt well and have a good short game. Also, targeting golfers with good proximity stats from the rough could be key. The average proximity of approach shots from the rough at Quail Hollow is actually the worst on tour. Another aspect off the tee for golfers to face is a lot of right to left dog legs, which could favor golfers who hit a natural draw. Now on approach shots, golfers are going to be hitting into greens that are average in size with multi-tiers and some undulation. Bunkers surround some greens and waters and play in a couple of approach shots as well. After having some problems with the green's upkeep, the course switched to the Champion Bermuda greens that we see now that's overseeded with Poetry Triviales. They're definitely difficult greens to putt on. Over the years, this course has consistently had the lowest make percentage in putts inside of 10 feet. Now, even though I don't mention like this in like my key stats from my article, looking at good putters inside of 10 feet, it might be a good play this week, right? The stimulator this week, probably 11.5 to 12. And as usual, check the forecast because it looks like weather's going to be an issue at least for round 1 and possibly round 2. Byron, what are you looking for in golfers this week?
Thinking about Max Homa, Kenny, when you mentioned inside of 10 feet putting, why does he play so well? Yeah, because it's probably that difficult to putt from inside 10 feet on Poet Trip, right? Like Max is so good inside that range. He's a really good putter. So that, to me, is essential. And around the green play, also a little sneaky situation because, like you said, the proximity numbers are pretty atrocious here. 2 inches isn't crazy, but when you're hitting a 5 iron out of 2-inch rough versus, like you mentioned, a wedge, it changes the whole complexion into these greens. So you have to have the path. You know, they always speak about these paths to victory. The path to victory for a short-hitting golfer at this golf course is hitting your irons incredibly well and absolutely dominating the short game. Like, you've got no hope if you don't do that stuff as a short hitter. I think you have to absolutely take care of business when you're doing your thing. Looking for guys with tons of distance, that helps you get out that rough. So lots of love there. And like you mentioned, the par 5s, critical to scoring, and you have to dominate. And guess what? All the guys we mentioned for the lowers and unders and birdies and things like that, that's where they're going to do the damages on the par 5s.
That is a fact. All right. So before we move on to these tiers, let's do our Byron's Babbelas bet segment. This is a segment we're doing every week. Byron, why don't you explain your segment here for the fans?
So my Babbelas bets for this week are 3 this time because bitch-ass Bo's not going to do me dirty this time. That fourth guy,
bitch-ass Bo!
He's out the mix, baby, even in Texas. If we can't play bitch-ass Bo in Texas, we can't play him anywhere. So my 3 guys. So at Bet365, you can parlay top 20 bets this week because obviously top 40s are tough to do in a 70-man field. Tom Hoagie, plus 145. Max Homa, minus 125 at Quail. Love that. And then Adam Scott, plus 120. These are 2 guys in particular, Hoagie and Scott, with the plus money. I'll be betting them individually as well. I kind of just threw Max
20s?
Homa.
Top 20s?
Top 20s. Because it's only 70 guys in the field, right? So these are guys with historically good top 20 rates in general. So the fact that you're nullifying the size of the field by about half, the top 40 numbers aren't going to be there because they're too short. So these guys, top 20s, give me 70 dudes. Got to basically beat a third of the field here, and these guys do it quite often. It gets you to plus 870. This one's a little juicy compared to last week. I think it was plus 650 or something. So hopefully we can bounce back here at this kind of rate. You're just trying to hit 1 every 8 shows, that's exactly what you're looking for. So don't get too hyped up, but I like all 3 of these guys for top 20 individually, and I'll be rolling them out as a little parlay for Byron's Babbelas bets there at plus 870 for 3 guys: Tom Hoagie, Max Homa, Adam Scott, all to finish inside the top 20.
Yeah, if you don't follow Byron on Twitter or on X, you should follow him for the Breaking 100 series. He does this cool thing. You explain the Breaking 100 because I want people to follow you because this is a really, really great idea that you do week in and week out on your X feed. Go ahead and explain to the audience what it is.
Yeah, so Breaking 100 is my signature article. I actually won Fantasy Sports Writer, Golf Writer of the Year award for that article, which is my little baby. It's got me so far through life. And what it does is breaking $100. So you're taking your $100 bill and you're snapping that bad boy into as many pieces as possible. $10 for outrights, and then $5 for a farewell fiver. The $85 in between that gets allocated to placements. It gets allocated to matchups, however I find my money going. And what I try to do is teach people how to manage their bankroll with this, because you've got your $100. If you want to turn it into $1,000, you want to turn it into 10, you can quite easily. And how it shows you is capitalizing on, if you're not Kenny Kim, you're not hitting outrights this year. It's tricky, right? So you got to double down on these placement markets and really, really lean into them so that I can make money every week, even though I'm not hitting my outright every single week. The goal is to subsidize your outright bets with placements and take care of that business there. So it's a nice little simple situation, and it's what makes me the happiest when you hit these placement bets and kind of almost hit them so hard that it's almost like hitting an outright. That's what you're looking for when you're doing these placement bets, and they're safer than outrights. They're way more sustainable. It's where I want to go. So I love these guys. I'll be rolling through some guys as we bring them up, who I'll be betting as well. And then go check out my article, which will come out this evening when you guys see the show.
So like I said, we're going to be adding a little bit more betting to this pod. And so one thing I do want to talk about this week is the betting, the market this week. Looking at the numbers, if there's any value. Now, I put out a Twitter poll question earlier today because I think I'm just going to bet. Actually, I am. I'm just going to bet Rory. I'm going to bet Wyndham. And I actually added Cam Young. But let's not count Cam Young to this. Let's do Rory and Wyndham. Rory 9-1, Wyndham Clark 16-1. Is that a favorable card? Now, if we look at these numbers, right, and you look at these mid-range or the guys right after Rory and Wyndham and stuff like that, you're looking at, and now Aberg is gone, so you're looking at Cantlay 14-1, Morikawa 20-1, Homa 20-1, Cam Young now 22-1, Fleetwood 25-1, Eagle at 25-1, Hovland 25-1. Have I said anyone that you wanted to bet so far?
Theegala is my guy.
Yeah, but 25-1, man. Really? In this field, you're going to bet Theegala 25-1?
It's Sahith Theegala that's had 2 second places in the top 5 this year. Okay.
Maybe it's just bias for me with the name because you look at all these names around Theegala. Like, I guess you're right because he's won more than Fleetwood, right? He's won more than Hovland this year. Hovland's 25-1, JT 28-1, Fitzy sneaky. I like sneaky 28-1 this week. Decky 28-1, and let's just stop there. Like in that range, like would you rather bet Rory and Wyndham this week, or two of these guys in this range, a guy in the 50 and a guy in the 80? Right? I mean, like, I don't see the win value for these guys anymore. Like underneath Rory, maybe because Scheffler's been winning so much that like I don't see like win value for, especially at these numbers, at these odds. So that's why for me, I'm going to the top of the board. And if you follow me for long enough, very rare that I'm going to bet the favorite. Like maybe 3 or 4 times in the 5 years that we've been doing a betting card on the show. But I just feel it this week with Rory or Wyndham. Now, in this situation, I know you're sort of a numbers guy, right?
Yeah.
Like what's a better way to approach this type of week?
Okay, so there's 2 situations here, Kenny. You've got your exposure, you've got your edge, and you've got your course. I think these are 3 very important things to kind of think about when betting outrights. Your exposure. If you're going to be betting Rory and Wyndham at 9 and 18-1 right now, your return on your investment is 6. Okay, so bear that in mind. You have to hit 1 in every 6 guys if you're betting this kind of strategy week in, week out. Whether you're doing it just this week, that's a totally different situation. You got to understand that it's not sustainable.
Well, I think a smart thing to do when you're looking at the card and betting is not having a specific mindset of how you're going to go about the week. You have to be like water, like fucking Bruce Lee, right? You gotta be like water. Like you got to be able to move and depending on what you see, depending on the numbers, depending on the field, you have to be able to adjust and not be in such a strict, straight mind frame when you come into your betting card week in and week out. Go ahead.
Exactly. So when you come to a place like Quail Hollow, it nullifies, like we were mentioning, these short hitters, for instance. It eliminates a large majority of the field. So it's these long iron affairs where that's what separates the best of the best on the PGA Tour, essentially, are these long irons and ball striking at golf courses like this. You've got 72 holes where you just have to be striping it. And the top of the board, that's why they price that way, is because that's what they do best. Wyndham Clark, Rory McIlroy, all these boys at the top, Xander, they are extremely good at ball striking. And at a venue like this, that's what you're looking for. The putting and around the green game helps, but that's not going to win it for you like it would have maybe last week at Bunny Ranch, right? So the venue and the course and the field changes exactly how you want to approach structuring your card. And you're right, Kenny. You never want to. For the sake of the article, just make it the $10 just so people can like understand this is how I go. But if you find an event that makes sense to you and you want to really approach that and just hammer and just have that 6x return, that's totally cool. Like if you had last week where you weren't that interested, maybe you go 9x return. You know, over the time of the betting year, you're going to average it out. So taking your opportunities and targeting specific weeks like this, where there's only a handful of guys that really can win outside of James Hahn. He's not in the field, thank God, this week, so we're safe. So, you know, like neither Scotty here. So this is the time to go. Like if you've got your guys that you want to pick, it's go time. So that's basically
so you basically don't mind going up top in events like this, because you're right. This and majors, you know, basically like a lot of these difficult courses with elite fields and major championships, you sort of want to go up top, right? And you want to get as many as you can. Now, the thing about the majors is I think the numbers are a little bit better. I think because you throw in the live guys in there sometimes, and you get some better numbers. When it's strictly PGA, man, you got like 20 guys, 30 to 1 or under. I mean, that's and like 16 of them haven't won in the last year or some shit like that, right? I mean, like, so what do you do? I mean, you can't just do your normal thing where you're going to space everything out. Oh, let me get a 20, let me get a 40, let me get a 60, let me get 3 triple digits. And that's how I'm going to do my card. You got to be able to adjust. And this week I'm adjusting. So let's go to these tiers for this week. Go ahead. Do you want to start to say something before we move on?
No, I'm just kind of agreeing with you.
Yeah, so let's go to these tiers, okay? We have Rory, Xander, Wyndham Clark in the 10K range. Ludwig Oberg just withdrew due to knee issues, which is scary after we saw what happened to Willie Z. You definitely worry about these young guys getting injured so young. Worrisome. Hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully it's something and Ludwig's fine. But we'll have to keep an eye on that. But when it comes to these 3 guys up top, Rory, Wyndham, and Xander, personally for me, I'm rostering all 3. I am not playing many golfers in the 9K range, right? These 3 golfers are a step above everybody else in this field. Personally, I think, even though it's a designated event. So, you got Rory, who's won this event 3 times, who's coming off, I know it's a bullshit event, but he did win. You know, you get that feeling of a win. It does nothing but help you, right? It can't hurt that you won a shitty event, right? I mean, it doesn't hurt,
sir.
Right?
Does not hurt.
Yeah. And so, you know, the guy's playing, he's coming in. What I think has happened, he wins this event. Koepka won last week. They get paired together all 4 days. And it's a Sunday final battle. Koepka, Rory, Live versus PGA. Eyeballs will be on that shit if that happens. I want a Rory Koepka rivalry more than anything else, like life itself, because that's what's going to bring the interest back for a lot of people.
Because Rory winning the PGA gets into 5.
Yeah, we need a rivalry. We need a rivalry. But of course, Xander, runner-up last year, playing the most consistent golf of his career. Wyndham Clark, winner last year. Now, if you look at Wyndham Clark results, like I said, he's a poor man's Brooks Koepka. In signature events, so he finished the Century was a signature event. I'm not really going to count that, but whatever. He finished 29th. But first at Pebble Beach, right? Second at Arnold Palmer. Second at the Players. Third at the RBC Heritage. This guy, when it comes to big-time events like this, he just shows up. So, I'm going to be rostering all 3 of these guys. First cash game cornerstone is going to be Wyndham Clark. I'm going with the cheapest guy out here to save money. Going Wyndham Clark, first cash game cornerstone. I bet Rory. I bet Wyndham. And I added one more. But that's basically my card for this week. I think Rory or Wyndham wins.
Kenny, I'm just being a stingy bitch because I wanted to bet Rory at 9 and I couldn't find a 9 out there because I like to stick to my 7s, But I was going to go to him so hard in the outright market. So I went to Wyndham now instead. So I've got him and Sahith. I don't have anybody else. I love all 3 of these dudes at the top. You can't not roster them. This is
your match. Now, here's the thing. There's guys that do single entry, right? For the guys that do single entry, who would you choose in these?
Wyndham.
I think I would too. I think I would
the
too.
price. You're getting the course history. This is one of the highest.
But I also do think he's probably going to be. You think Wyndham's never really popular, but I think if I like him this week, I think he's going to be popular. I'm not an ownership guru, but like,
I'd imagine.
What do you think the ownership's going to be? You think Rory's highest, or you think Wyndham's highest?
Rory at 11.8 is not going to be owned because he's only got one top 19. Like, like every other finish he's had has been 21st, 20th. He hasn't been playing the greatest golf. The course history for all three of these guys is incredible. So I think it's kind of going to be flattish and likely proportional inversely to the salary. I think all three of these guys are pretty much the same option. Whoever's providing you with the best value likely will see the majority of the ownership, and that's what Wyndham Clark is at 10.5. I mean, he's $1,000 cheaper than Xander and Rory. So that will likely go that way. I think if you're looking to get different, you can go to Xander and Rory in your single entries.
Yep, I agree. I'm playing all three of those guys. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to the 9K range. Who do you like?
Gotta love Max Homa. Gotta love Sahith Theegala. I think Sahith is sixth in the field from 200 and out on strokes per game, Kenny. Yeah. Like, you don't realize that. And then Sahith is Max Homa putting, right, on Poa Triv again. So I guess it's not necessarily Poa newer, but it's still. Sahith is a very good putter. Max Homa as well. And then Tommy Fleetwood has just sneakily been notching up top 10s. I've bet Tommy Fleetwood for a top 10, and I've bet Wyndham Clark for a top 5, by the way. Those are some of my bets that I'll be rolling out here, as well as a Xander for a top 10, too. Xander's plus 115, plus money for a top 10.
Oh, yeah. That's
rattling off top 10s like crazy. And we go to this golf course that emphasizes all that stuff. Let's go. So those are my bets in this 9K range, and I'm loving all three of those guys for DFS as well, along with some, a little bit of Max Homa there, which I mentioned is part of my Babbelas bet there. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Homa's my second Cascade cornerstone. You play Homa on the Homa courses. So obviously a Homa course. He won a few years ago, 8th last year. A really good showing at the Masters, proving that he has the game to be in the elite of elite. I'm not going to worry about RBC Heritage a week after a draining Masters tournament for Homa. So I'm going to go ahead and have Homa as my second Cascade cornerstone. Pretty easy right there. Again, we're very similar this week. I do like Theegala, and I do like Fleetwood. Now,
which means they're probably going to be very popular plays.
Yes.
The reason we like them is because we like them, right? Like, there's reasons.
So if you had to pick a pivot in the 9K range, it wasn't those three, because I feel like the other three are going to be under-owned. Which one of the other three would be your pivot play?
I will take a gamble on Colin Morikawa. His biggest issue, and that's ownership dependent, obviously, you're not going to pivot to a guy that's the same ownership, but Colin Morikawa's biggest deficiency in his game over the last little while has been his long irons from 200 and out. He's now back with his original coach prior to the 2023 Ryder Cup, I believe, which he ditched him then. Nice. The long irons have gone to shit, and that's what made Colin Morikawa. He was elite from 200 and out. He's been substandard over the last little while. So if that coach can figure out what his long irons has been up to, I don't know how quick it will take. I don't know how it's been going, but Colin's also turned himself into a bit of a short game whiz lately. He's really chipping and putting quite nicely and kind of keeping his head afloat. So that's going to be my pivot if the ownership works out. It's tricky. Yeah, who's yours?
Yeah, I would go Homa too. I mean, not Homa, Morikawa as well. He's had some good finishes, a couple top 10s in his last couple of stroke play events. Like you said, his iron game is getting better. I don't really know what happened, but getting back to his old coach, pretty big deal. So I if you're going for a pivot from these three, because I do expect Fleetwood, Homa, and Theegala to be popular, I think maybe Morikawa might be your guy. I don't know if I want to go there. We'll see. I do have room, I think, but because I'm only rostering about 6 guys, 9,100 and up. Usually I roster 7. But I don't usually roster the 3 highest priced guys. So we'll have to see how the lineup generator plays.
Like water, baby.
Everything. Yep. Let's move down to the 8K range. I like the top 2 dogs. I like Decky, of course, who comes in. Long irons, of course, are very, very good. Really good on par 5s. Excellent around the green. Number 1 in strokes gained tee to green in the last 24 rounds in this field. Pretty easy to be a Decky fan, other than the fact that he hasn't played here in about 7 years. Little worried of some about that, but I'm just going to go on form. I'm going to go the way he's doing. He's playing well, and he's fully rested because he did take RBC Heritage off. I don't know if he paid a fine for that or what's the deal, but he did not play in RBC Heritage. And I do not think it was injury related. He just was like, I ain't playing, bitch. I ain't playing. What are you going to do? But what are you going to do, man, Monahan? Probably fine. It's probably what happened.
Doesn't he have a freebie? You can like skip one.
Maybe. I don't know the rules. I don't know the rules.
I think you can skip one.
Okay. I don't know the rules. So I like him, and I like Cam Young. Again, another course where, and I bet Cam Young 30-1 with 8 places. Do I think he can win this event? Yes, I do. The man has 7 runner-ups. A win's gotta fucking come, right? You don't get 7 runner-ups in like 2 years if you're not an elite golfer. Like, I feel like he is in that zone. He just doesn't have a win, right? And so at 30-1 with 8 places, I mean, it was a 35, and you could have gotten 38 enhanced this morning. Those seem fair to me in this field. I got no problem putting that on a 30-1 with 8 places for Cam Young. Especially because once again, long iron play, is just great. He makes a ton of birdies, tee to green, solid. His iron game has been very, very good, and you know what he does off the tee. So I like those 2 up top. Going down, I think my sleeper play is going to be Fitzy. I don't know. We'll see how every time I think I have a sleeper, he ends up like 27% on. So like I said, I don't know. I'm not an ownership guy. But to me, I don't expect too many people to roster him. I would expect less than 12%. But his long iron game is strong, right? It's like one of the strongest parts of his game here recently. In the top 7 in proximity from 175 to 200 and 200 plus in the last 24 rounds in this field. Also crushes the par 5s. Good around the greens. I like Fitzy. But my cash game cornerstone, a little risky, but it is a no-cut event. I'm going Justin Thomas at $8,500. I think the $8,500 price tag is what got me, right? I know whenever look, as bad as he's been playing, and, he did finish top 10 at the Heritage. Top 5, maybe. I don't know. Top 10 or top 5.
Top 5.
Yeah, top 5 at the Heritage the last time he was out. So, obviously, he's playing okay. It's not horrible. But it's not, the JT that we knew from like 2017 and 2019. It's just not who he is anymore. And the level of competition has gone up. But I do think that he can still, at this price tag, have the upside to win this event, to at least top 5. And at $8,500, I mean, that just seems like a good deal, good value to have for the upside that he possibly has at this event, because he's won here before.
Amen,
so that's what I'm going to go with. I like Benny on a lot too down there at 8,100. The only worry I have is he sucks at this course, but Benny's been playing a lot better here recently. We'll see if that can go through. This 8,000 range is pretty nice. Like, Finau's been playing like ass, and he does not play well at this course. But I feel like he should. I don't understand why he doesn't. I probably won't roster him this week. But, it just seems to me like he should be okay.
It doesn't make sense, Kenny. Golfers are psychos. And getting back to Justin Thomas real quick, there's only a few times in golf and when you're looking at stats and data where I'll completely overreact to one tournament of results. And Justin Thomas showed up to the Masters without bones. Then goes to the RBC and just out of nowhere shows up, gains in all 4 areas of the game T5 at a golf course that not really cut out for him, that's not his jam. I like Justin Thomas now. The fact that second tournament, right after getting a new caddy, he shows up in a T5 all of a sudden. Let's go. Maybe that's all he needs. It's just that refresh, rejuvenation sensation. Let's see what he can get up to. Love what he's doing. And I'm going to second your Matt Fitzpatrick take there, Kenny. So much stuff makes sense about him. I love it. Your Cam Young situation, I'll leave that alone. I just don't think... I've said it about Taylor Montgomery. He's one of the best, golfers in the world, but he's a horrible competitor. Maybe that's what Cameron Young is. You can be an exceptionally good golfer, but you have to be a competitor to win on the PGA Tour, right?
He's going to have multiple wins. I think he's going to have more than 5 wins on the PGA Tour in his career. The talent is there. When you hit it that far and your iron game is that good, you're going to win. You're going to win at some point in time. It's just going to happen. Like
it's going to take some luck and maybe he comes from far behind on Sunday or something. But
people who say luck is a big part of winning. Like golf, period.
Well, Ben
doesn't matter who you are.
Right? Yeah. So we'll see what he can get up to. I mean, like you said, the game's there. At some point, it has to come through, surely. So Benny on as well. Incredibly good from far when it comes to getting tight. So
that's sort of why, I think you'd be light in the 9K range and go, start with one of the 3 studs up top and just go straight pepper this 8K with a couple of those, 2 7Ks and maybe a 6K. Because 6K is not bad this week. Let's move on to the 7K range. Not as large as it normally is, but of course, it is a smaller field. Looking at this event, the one guy, of course, that sticks out is Willie Z with $7,900 just because of these 3 numbers. Proximity from 175 to 205th in this field. Proximity from 200 plus 10th in this field. Strokes gained par 5 scoring 3rd in this field, right? I mean, that's like exactly what we're looking for this event, for this course. And at 7,900, I will risk it if he's injured. I don't know. Because
that's exactly
withdraw his last thing. I will take the risk at $7,900. I don't think he would be playing if it was really, really bad. I think he just I think he had a maintenance week last week to get ready for this week and next week, because playing 3 weeks in a row would probably be tough for him.
It would have been 6 weeks in a row had he played every tournament leading up to the PGA Championship. So that's what Willie Z is trying to probably get away from. If you're not overreacting, Willie Z at a golf course like this is the factory. You go to a factory and Willie Z says, I'll take Quail Hollow, I'll take Torrey Pines, I'll take Augusta, I'll take, give me those courses. Like that's what Willie Z is going to be pointing at. Quail Hollow, give me. Like this is his jam. So $7,900, woo boy, like you're getting some seriously good value there if his back is healthy. Whether or not it is, who knows? And how many people are going to get in on $7,900?
I have no idea what his ownership is going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be really weird to see because people are going to be tentative. They're going to be overboard. If it gets chalky, I'm out. If it doesn't, I'm in. That's just how I'm going to be because
I think that's a good way to go about signature events like 7K, 6K chalk. Probably good to avoid. Now, for me, of course, I lay my Cascade Cornerstones out Monday afternoon, and I suck at ownership percentages, so I have no idea who's going to be chalky. So sometimes my plays are chalky as shit. But I think that's a decent way to think. Now, unless you love the guy. Now, there's certain instances where it just makes too much sense not to fade him, like Corey Connors at the Masters or something like that at $6,700.
Yes,
or something like that. You're like, why wouldn't you do it? It has a 5e5, and that's fine because Corey just plays so well at those events. And of course, I think the last time that happened, he paid off his value. So we'll see. Hold on, I just lost my space. Let's move
Steven
on.
Yeager.
Go on and tell me who you like in this range.
Yeah, Steven Yeager for me. If you think about how good of a driver he is, and the thing about Yeager is if you take a look at his last little track record, there's 3 top 5s. That includes a win. He's the only guy that's literally beaten Scotty Scheffler in the last 5 tournaments. So he's $7,500 at a ball striking bonanza. If you think about Steven Yeager's out the rough proximity from 150 and out, he's one of the top talents on tour. So $7,500 to get an extremely good driver of the ball, really good with his long irons out the rough, and he's pretty tidy around the greens. It's whether or not he can just avoid losing 3 strokes putting on a specific day that's really going to be the make or break for Yeager. So when he gains putting, things look good for him, and hopefully he can take care of business for us this week. Akshay, at $7,500, this guy's ball striking the crap out of. This is the thing, Kenny, leaning into these ball strikers like crazy, especially in the 75s. I think Akshay is going to be very popular. Adam Scott as well, like him a lot too. And then I think a few options down in the bottom here. Adam Schenk, been playing incredible golf the last little while, and he's got tons of distance as well. So those will be the options I'm kind of leaning into in the 7s there. A lot of interesting names. Taylor Pendrith there after winning.
One short guy I'm going to go with for in the 7K range is Corey Connors. I know he's been playing sort of mid here recently, but the thing about it is when it comes to difficult long courses, for some reason the guy is just a baller, right? On difficult, he's first in strokes gained tee to green in the last 24 rounds in this field on long, difficult courses. Over 7,400 yards that play difficult scoring average. He's first in the field in strokes gained tee to green. Right?
Odds along, baby.
I like him this week. I will go ahead and roster him. Of course, he's like almost dead last in putt at these events. But
if it's difficult from inside 10 feet, Kenny, the opposite could be true, right?
Look. From 175 to 200, first. From 200 plus, first. In this field, in the last 24 rounds, for in difficult scoring conditions and over 7,400 yards. That's impressive.
Yeah.
He's first in both, right?
That's checking so many boxes.
He's first in both. And he's going to be hitting it from there all day because he's not uber long off the tee.
Yeah.
So it's going to be from 175 over 65% of the shots for the week. And luckily he is first in both of those. And I think didn't he have a top 10 year last year, if I'm not mistaken? The guy has played well here in the past. I like Corey Connors at this event a lot. I mean, just those numbers just scream to me like how can you be that good on difficult courses and long courses and be that? It's just amazing. He's first in both of those proximity ranges in the last 24 rounds total. Everybody's 24 rounds in this field. Other guys that do like
8th year last year, Kenny.
Yeah, 8th. That's right. I like Bhatia. He's going to be popular. When it comes to if it's Bhatia or Jaeger, I'm playing Bhatia. Jaeger's iron game is just hit or miss. Sometimes for me, he could drive the fuck out of the ball. But if he's not, his long irons for the most part are pretty good. But once you get to like his shorter irons, like overall, he doesn't hit those long irons that often because he's playing events that are basically not these signature tough type of events, right? Overall, in the last 50 rounds or so. So maybe that's skewing his long iron number. I don't know. Maybe he is just good at the long irons. But
His splits between rough and fairway are ridiculous.
Okay, so that's what it is. From the rough, he's money. Okay. Well, then you know what? That's good then because you don't hit very many fairways at this course. Yeah. But I still can't. I would rather have Bhatia than Jaeger. I might roster both, but I'm not sure. Horschel, Hoagie, Denny, they're all viable down here. Denny was like I think top 5 here last year. If he can get his putter straight, like I said, it's one of the hardest courses inside of 10 feet. If he's beating everybody inside of 10 feet, he's got a chance, right? And Horschel's has played this event one before, but Hoagie, of course, the best iron game in this field. I don't know. Maybe his ownership's going to go down a bunch compared to last week, even though he's about $2,000 less in price. I think he's worth it at 7,200, 7,300. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Into the 6K range. I mean, I like Ricky Fowler again. I said it a couple weeks ago, and he had a decent finish, right? I think I said it at the Masters, and he finished like 18th, or top 20, if I'm not mistaken. I like him again. This is another court. He's looking better, right?
Yes,
like visually from the eye test, like when you see him like hit, it looks like he's getting better. It looks like his stroke on the back when he's going up, on the back, it used to be pretty level or below, and then he started being too high, and now it looks like it did when he wore like the orange all the time in his backswing, where the club is at this type of angle, almost going around his shoulder. I think it's going back to his old school type of swing. So I can get behind Ricky. I can get behind Kitayama, whose ball striking has been really, really good, and that he could bomb it off the tee. Like I said, there's guys down here. Taylor Moore, again, another guy who's longer off the tee, good on par fives. Has been really, really consistent. Eckroat, iron game exceptional, one of the best from 175 to 200. Nat out here, right? Again, long iron play. I don't think last week can get to him too much. I mean, maybe you want to bet him the first 3 rounds and avoid him in the final round because even in Mexico when he won, he looked sort of shaky. Definitely looked a little shaky yesterday as well. But my final cash game cornerstone is, and the reason for this is, Quail Hollow is the seventh most, stickiest course when it comes to course history.
Predictive.
On the PGA Tour. So I'm going straight up course history up on this bitch and I'm going Emiliano Grillo at $6,400. The guy just makes every cut here, finishes top 25 every time he plays here. I don't even care. At $6,400, it gives me the chance to roster Wyndham, fucking Homa, and JT and not even break a sweat. I got $15,300 still left for my other two guys. You could go into the 8K range once again and go low 7K to finish out your lineup. That's not what I'm doing because I like Corey Connors and I like Bhatia. But you can go that option if you like. You can even go back up to the 9K if you want to be stupid and go to another low 6K golfer. Like that gives you that much freedom playing Emiliano Grillo or somebody, even if that's not your favorite play, down below 6,500. If you have that person in cash, remember, there's no cut this week. It's not like, Bay Hill or Tigers tournament or Jack's tournament. There is no cut. So it's a no cut event. These guys are going to play 4 days no matter what. And so, you don't have to worry about him missing a cut. No. You can go aggressive when it comes down to this. And that's the way I'm going to go about it in cash. So I can go ahead and have 3-4 studs in my line.
I absolutely love it, Kenny. And if you want to take that fifth guy and dump into the 9s and throw another 6K cheapie, I'm going to be playing Grayson Murray. I pivoted off of Minwoo Lee at Bay Hill with Grayson. I would say they're very similar in nature. I wouldn't say the rough.
Jesus, what is the same price?
No, but I think Minwoo was 68 and Grayson was like 63.
That's what I meant. They were like similar in price.
Yeah, it was that situation. I was like, and guess what? Grayson actually ended up beating Minwoo, but I think Minwoo kind of made so many damn birdies that it didn't help. But Grayson Murray at a golf course where you're looking for distance and scrambling, those are his two best attributes. He's $6,000 flat. Like getting 4 rounds of golf from the guy. Maybe there's a bad round in him, but I'm down to play him a little bit. I think he's going to be sneaky. Gary Woodland at a big boy golf course like this. At some point, he's going to start playing some good golf. There's options down here if you're looking to.
I really hope he does.
Yes, it would be a crazy story.
Because I don't know if people know exactly what happened to him, but he had a brain lesion in the fear center of his brain. So
fear center.
The fear center of his brain. That's where this brain lesion was. So literally every day, every hour, every minute, he was scared. He thought he was going to die for like 6 months. Every day.
Flying around the country as a PGA professional.
Every day, every minute, he thought he was going to die because that's what his fear, I guess his big fear is death. Pretty normal fear for people to have, especially ones with family and stuff like that. He has kids, right? And I can't imagine living life like that. Like, I can't imagine. It's insane. I really hope he can come back and get better because he said the only way he felt better on the golf course. That's why he kept playing. It's so crazy. So crazy.
I just got like chills thinking about that. It's crazy.
I hope he gets back.
Yeah.
Because that is insane. That's some shit you see in like a movie, right? Like some twist in an M. Night Shyamalan movie, right? Where the motherfucker, why he's scared all the time is because of a fucking tumor or a lesion on his brain. That's crazy. Crazy. Oh, all right. So, anybody else in the 6K range you fuck with?
Patrick Rogers. I'll take a gamble on him. Just translates to these long golf courses. He's got tons of them.
I can't get behind him outside of like West Coast shit. I don't know why. I mean, I can't get down with it. I don't know why. All right. So, betting card for me this week. Really easy. It's going to be Rory 9-1, Wyndham Clark 16-1, 8 places, Cam Young 30-1, 8 places. That's it. Still, I'm overexposed by about 20% with those 3 bets. I'm overexposed by about 20% of my normal bankroll.
But you know what, Kenny? We've discussed that. You're going to pick your choice.
Well, I mean, I won like
Scheffler.
$4,800 last week, so I'm good.
Exactly, baby. You're playing with house money. Scotty's not in the field. Let's hit another one while you're at it. You're hot. Get your guys in there. like you're playing guys that make sense and you're understanding your betting. You're not doing it naively, blind.
Well, here's the thing. Let me. In the last 7 events, like I think I said, it's in the last 7 strict play events. I've had 10 each ways, and I've had the 3 outrights, but I've at least won something every week, all
Every
7. Right.
Yeah.
So this is going to be 8 weeks in a row. And I'm taking a fucking little bit of a risk, only betting 3 guys this week and only 2 of them each way. My card last week was, I think I had 5 guys like over 100 to 1, and then 5 guys like 80 to 1 or less. I had like 10 people on my card last week, but usually it's around like 6, 7, right? Is what my card usually is, right? Depending on how many outrights I have or how many long shots I have.
Yeah.
And so, it gives me a better chance to fucking get the each way, at least, and so that's what I've been banking on. Like I said, 7 weeks in a row, I've hit at least an each way. So I'm trying to extend the streak. I mean, it's a really nice streak to fucking have. But I'm definitely taking a risk, only having 2 each way guys, only betting on 3 guys. But that's how I feel about this event this week. I think one of these 3 studs takes it fucking down, and throwing Homa in the mix as well.
It's heat check time, Kenny. Let's see what you got, baby.
That's exactly what it is. It's a fucking heat check. That's what it is.
Exactly. So I've got Wyndham. If he cashes for us, I'm going to be thrilled. So got Wyndham at 18, and I've got Sahith at 30. Those are my 2 guys that I've got right now. I'm having a nightmare trying to figure out what to do with this betting card. I'm on the opposite side of you, Kenny. I'm like scared to bet. I don't know what my deal is. I'll figure it out. It'll be my Breaking 100 article, but those are my 2 guys for now.
All right. I do have a special Myrtle Beach card this week. I did not know Byron has one.
Let me pull the Myrtle Beach board up real quick.
But I have a Myrtle Beach alternate field card this week. We did not talk about it at all because I have no idea what the fuck is going on. But again, it's heat check, motherfucker.
Baby.
We're gonna throw some fucking names out who have been playing pretty fucking good golf here recently. Let me go Andrew Novak, 33 to 1, all with 8 places. We're gonna go Andrew Novak, 33 to 1. We're gonna go Justin Lower, 40 to 1. We're gonna go Alejandro Rosti, 60 to 1. And we're going to go Davis Riley, 60 to 1. Literally, all these guys have wildly different play styles, wildly different people. No idea what to expect from the course. Just betting based on what I've seen and the eye tests. And these guys have been playing pretty fucking good, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with those 4 guys.
I love it. And you're covering your bases. You know what the course is, so make sure that one of the guys can be the perfect course fit. I'm all about it. Daniel Berger is starting to potentially find some form, boys.
He dropped to 25 by the time I looked at it.
Yeah.
When he was 35 this morning, I was like, maybe. Because he looked pretty fucking good last week or yesterday, this past week. Now, again, it's a birdie fest, but this is probably going to be a birdie fest, right? I mean, you don't get these alt.
Yeah, it's an alt.
And throw like these scrubs on the fucking Bethpage Black or some shit like that, right?
No,
I mean, they're not doing shit like that. I don't think. I mean, even the beach, the beach tour that they do with the alternate field events. I mean, if there's no wind, people should shoot like 30 under. Now, a lot of the times there's weather there, which of course makes it Bermuda and all that stuff makes it harder. But I don't expect it to play hard. Like I don't know.
I got nothing to offer on the Myrtle Beach Classic there for you, Kenny.
Nothing. It sounds good.
Outside of Daniel.
All right. So 1 and done. So I am now first in the Slider Cup, which is I was 3rd to last like at the end of February, by the way. That's how quickly shit can change in 1 and done. So if you're near the bottom of a 1 and done league that you're in, do not fucking give up. Because so in the Mayo 1 and done, I went from 2500, I was 2500th about 4 weeks ago. I am now 104th. I'm almost in the top 100 in 4 weeks. So do not give up.
Yeah.
Now, I totally forgot who I was going to pick for 1 and done. Oh, I think it's going to be Wyndham Clark. But we'll see. Wyndham Clark, Fleetwood is there for me. I have Xander, but I think I'm going to save Xander in both leagues for the Tour Championship.
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
I think I'm just going to go ahead and chill. You got to look ahead in these motherfuckers now. And, when I was not even anywhere close, I wasn't looking ahead at all. So I'm looking back at the people I've used like, fuck, I've used him already. Fuck, I've used him already. So this is going to be a fun back half of the season, because there's going to be some weeks where it's going to be tough, especially like these signature events where I've used like all the studs already.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, but it's going to be fun. Last week I did have Penrith. I had Penrith and Mitchell in the Slider Cup, and I had Penrith in the Mayo Cup.
Oh, baby.
I think
Jesus Christ, Kenny.
I think I've had 4 winners this year in the Mayo Cup. So it's been solid. And I've had 2 winners in the Slider Cup, and they pay out winners weekly, plus skins, plus a whole bunch of other shit. So yeah, it's their payout system's cool. Real cool. I'm definitely going to try and play in that league as long as I can, unless they kick me out. But yeah, so I think I'm going to go. This is the signature event. It's going to be Clark. It's going to be Homa. I think I might have left. Figula is an option. It's going to be one of those 3 probably. And maybe even Rory. I think I still have Rory left. This could be the week. I don't know. It's going to be one of those guys.
I've burned Rory, so I'll probably be... I think I've also burnt Max, which I would have gone to too. So it's likely going to have to be Clark with you. I think that's... But you know what? I'm so freaking far out of it because I've forgot to enter this.
Yeah, but see,
I'm in your position now.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, only 9 out of 2,700 contestants in the Mayo Cup pick Penrith. That's why it moved up so much.
Yeah.
I think Siwoo was the highest owned, and like 700 people picked him.
Oh my god! And he's still like finished fine. You know, like
yeah. But still,
like, that's frustrating.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. So that's why I was able to jump up so much. Yeah. I don't think many people had Scheffler at the Masters because they'd already burned him.
Yep.
And so yeah, I had him there, and so that shot me up too. And I think Cantlay finished 3rd at RBC. I had him at RBC.
He's Kenny.
Yeah, it's been hot. Like I said, like the last 3 months have been crazy. Like the last time I was this hot might have been 2018, the fall, going into the end of the season in 2018 to the fall to the beginning of the West Coast swing in 2019. I hit 7 winners in 12 events or some shit. So it's happened before.
Yeah.
Right? It's happened. This is not like it's a new thing. Like I guess when I'm hot, I stay hot for like an extended period of time.
Let's go. I love it. All right. So I'm going to go Willie Z as my one and done. I feel like, in my position, I need to have the ace in the hole. Let's go with Willie Z. I don't think people will risk him, at the top of the board there as an option. So he's my guy.
All right, that sounds good. I think this ran pretty long, but I had a fun little pod. Byron, tell them where they can find you.
Rotoballer.com, back 9 bets. I did a nice little research show for 3 hours last night. It's got timestamps. Yeah, that's what I do on a Sunday night.
I think the only thing I do for 3 hours at a time ever in my life is sit on the couch and watch TV.
Yeah.
Oh, sleep too.
I did a 6-hour 40 for the Masters, so I'll be doing a nice PGA one. I'm going to go through all the guys I care about. It's there, timestamped. You just click on the name. You can go right to that little segment of the show. It's beautiful. Rotoballer.com. I've got my Breaking 100 articles, all that stuff out there. And then at The Model Maniac, you can find me on X, baby. So let's have a good weekend.
There we go. Find me on X at Kendo VT. Like I said, I release underdog plays on that. Make sure you go to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code Mayo, get yourself a deposit match anywhere from like $100 to $250. Go check that shit out. Follow me. I mean, now that I say it, we're probably going to lose, but you never know. You never know. You can also find my article every week on gupscorner.com. Use promo code Kenny. Save yourself 30% on a sub to Gups Corner. Let's see if the heater can keep on going. Let's win some motherfucking money. Degen Nation.